In this presentation, we'll explore the challenges faced by individuals with psychotic disorders within the prison system, including inadequate care and support. We'll also discuss how the media shapes public perceptions of mental health, influencing how these individuals are treated in society and the justice system. Additionally, we'll take a look at the perspectives of people with disabilities and how the media can better represent them. People with psychotic disorders often face longer prison stays. For example, at Rikers Island, the average stay is 42 days, but for mentally ill inmates, it increases to 215 days. They are also 10 times more likely to be incarcerated than placed in mental hospitals. Suicide rates are also alarmingly high, particularly among individuals with schizophrenia, whose suicide risk is 7 times higher than those without the condition. Prisons frequently lack adequate mental health care, with many inmates receiving insufficient treatment. About 60% of prisoners show signs of mental illness, and there's often little support or access to medication. Some prisoners are forced to take psychiatric drugs, further complicating their care. Prisons also face difficulties in hiring qualified psychiatric staff, which leads to a shortage of mental health professionals. This exacerbates conditions, making it harder for individuals with psychotic disorders to get proper care. Media often sensationalizes violent crimes or violent cases involving schizophrenia or psychotic disorders, reinforcing harmful stereotypes that mentally ill individuals are inherently dangerous. This narrow portrayal ignores the real struggles faced by these individuals, such as inadequate mental health care, and this perpetuates harmful stigma. Um, In The Voices, Ralph Reynolds plays a character with schizophrenia who, after refusing medication, spirals into violence. Mental health care advocate Cody Green and an openly diagnosed individual with schizophrenia and social influencer commented that the film exacerbates stigma by portraying people with mental illness as inherently dangerous, leading to misunderstanding and fear. This misrepresentation can have long-term effects on how society treats individuals with mental health challenges. Orange is the New Black also portrays mental illness in problematic ways, particularly through characters like Suzanne, whose mental health issues become a burden to others. The show sensationalizes her breakdown, treating it as an inconvenience rather than addressing her trauma. Lolly is another character who is sent into psychiatric care after being wrongfully blamed for a crime, reinforcing the stereotype that mentally ill individuals are dangerous. While it isn't stated in the show, Lolly is seen in other scenes having symptoms of psychosis and hearing voices, which is a common symptom of psychotic disorders and schizophrenia. The Green Mile aligns supernatural abilities with intellectual disability, perpetuating the magical disabled person trope. This portrayal reduces complex human experiences to plot devices, stripping characters of agency and humanity. The use of disabilities to feel a supernatural narrative further distorts public perception. Joker brings attention to the systematic failures that impacts individuals with mental illness, but it also links psychotic disorders to violence, reinforcing harmful stereotypes. While it sheds light on societal neglect, it risks contributing to public fear and misunderstanding of those with mental health conditions. While media depictions often suggest a link between mental illness and violence, research shows that only 3 to 5% of violent acts are committed by people with serious mental health conditions. These portrayals fuel fear and misunderstanding, making it harder for those affected to find empathy and support. Incarcerated individuals with psychotic disorders often feel neglected and discriminated against. The lack of adequate mental health services increases their anxiety and worsens their conditions, further isolating them within the prison system. People with psychotic disorders often face difficulty advocating for themselves due to cognitive impairments. This complicates their access to mental health services and often leads to their needs being ignored, exacerbating their conditions. Without individualized care or regular mental health check-ins, symptoms worsen, and chances for rehabilitation decrease. This cycle makes reintegration into society increasingly difficult for incarcerated individuals. Here I've included here I have included interviews from incarcerated individuals with schizophrenia, psychotic disorders, or serious mental illnesses, vocalizing their experiences in the King County Jail. Here is another interview on Ricardo Rodriguez, who was diagnosed with bipolar and schizophrenia around the age of 13 to 14 years old. In this case, he is talking about how um, he had disciplinary consequences for self harm, and then was put into solitary confinement. Next is two incarcerated individuals, Dwayne Stelivant and Tyler Howes, talking about how they were forced to take antipsychotic medication. And at the beginning, there will be a quick list of some of the symptoms of antipsychotic medication. Media has the power to reshape public perceptions. By focusing on successful mental health initiatives in prisons, such as therapy programs or medication management, we can reduce stigma and advocate for systemic change. Advocates recommend better training for prison staff to understand mental health, the development of individualized treatment plans, and a shift from a punishment to rehabilitation. These changes are vital to creating a supportive prison environment for those with mental health conditions. Systemic failures in prisons, alongside harmful media portrayals, leave individuals with psychotic disorders without proper care and perpetuates cycles of neglect. Media should shift toward empathetic, accurate representations that highlight the potential for change. Improving mental health care in prisons is not only crucial for those affected, but also for the progress of society as a whole. Thank you for listening to my presentation.